What's up, guys? Welcome back to This Just In. Thank you for joining me today. In this video, I wanted to give you an update on Xpeng. I am liking it more and more every day, and I wanted to give you my thoughts on exactly why I am buying it over a lot of the other EV stocks. So let's not waste any time. Let's jump right in. Alrighty guys, before we get started today, subscribe to the channel for me. We are so close to 1,000 subscribers. Thank you guys so much for your support. So do me a favor, if you could just click that button and then hit the bell so you get notified every time I post, I'd really appreciate it. There's also a link down in the description to my Patreon account. Come join the family. I did the first 50 patrons for just $1. That's the day one squad. We have got 5 spots left. So if that's something you want to be a part of, come over. You'll get access to the private Discord where we talk stocks, links to 4 different portfolios so you can see exactly what I invest into. And then anytime I buy or sell a stock, up to the second I do it, I send out a notification so you can follow along. Also, anytime I've got like some stocks on my watch list or I enter a crypto trade, I send that out. So if that's something you're interested in, come on over. We'd love to have you. We are building an amazing community. I do want to say thank you so much to my current patrons. I love you. My current subscribers, I love you too. But guys, let's jump in. So obviously, I've talked about Xpeng a few times. I've talked about NIO. Both are great companies. I own Lightning e-motors, so I love the EV space. It is very hard to choose which one you are going to invest into. Really, in China, you've got like NIO, Xpeng, and Li for like your 3 big ones, right? I know there's some others, but those are the 3 that are most commonly talked about. If you would have asked me back in January which one was my favorite, it would have been NIO, hands down, no questions asked. I own both of them. I own NIO, I own Xpeng. I'm currently a little bit heavier in NIO right now, but as I look more and more into Xpeng and more things come out, I am starting to like it a little bit more. I know a lot of people will probably say I'm crazy for that, but I wanted to give you kind of some of my thoughts, some of the things that I see, and some news updates so you can kind of get an idea of why I feel that way. I am going to continue to own both stocks. I like both companies. I think they're both going to do very well, but I am definitely going to start adding to Xpeng more and more because of some of these things. So let's jump in. I wanted to give you first an update on some of the delivery numbers recently. Again, then we'll kind of go over some of my thoughts on why I like it. Some advantages, some disadvantages. We'll take a look at the chart. I'll give you my price target and we'll wrap it up. So let's jump in, guys. Okay, so the first thing here, before we look right here, so in 2020, guys, they sold 27,000 vehicles. Okay, that's a lot of vehicles, but it's really not. If you really think about it, for a car manufacturer, that's not that many. But they are a new car company. So 27,000 vehicles in the total for 2020. Now in February, they had a little bit of a slow month for February 2021, but they really stepped it up in March. And in March, they did 5,102 vehicles deliveries, which is a 384% increase year over year from March 2020 to 2021. Obviously, the pandemic probably played a big role in that, but nonetheless, big jumps there. Now, they are on track with these numbers because they just posted record Q1 deliveries. So for 2021 Q1, they did 13,340 vehicles, which was a 487% increase year over year from 2020. They're on track right now to do double what they did in 2020 in 2021 full year. If they do that, they will go from 895 million in 2020 to 2.1 billion in 2021, which would be up 130% year over year. So let's take a look here. So in April, they did 5,147 vehicles, which is 285% increase year over year from April of last year. Their year-to-date deliveries are 18,487, which is up 413% year over year. That's fantastic. They started the year strong. They are doing very well. Obviously, there's some concerns out there for the chip shortage and things like that, but I don't think it's going to be that bad. I think that we will get over that, in the next couple of months, and the end of the year, they'll do just fine. A couple of things here that I wanted to go over. So as of right now, NIO is the more luxury brand, right? Their cars cost a little bit more. They've also got more vehicles to choose from. Xpeng is cheaper, and they are really more so focused on the technology in the vehicles. They just set that record back in March for the longest autonomous drive without human intervention. It was actually better than the Tesla Model 3, like going through tunnels and exiting and entering freeways and driving through the cities and things like that. So the autonomous driving is one of their main focuses, which in my opinion will be one of the huge differentiating factors in who captures a large percentage of the market. Obviously, NIO is a bigger company. They deliver more cars. They have more revenue. The one thing that I really like about NIO is their battery as a service. Their battery swapping is huge. Like, that is something that is very hard to compete with as far as differentiating yourself. Because one of the main fears of electric vehicles is distance, not being able to go as far as you'd like. It's not like an internal combustion engine where you can drive and drive and drive and drive and you'll never not be by a gas station unless you are in the middle of nowhere. So the battery as a service is huge. You can pull up, they'll swap your battery within 3 minutes. I'm pretty sure it's even like AAA, where if you run out of a charge, they'll come out there and swap it out on the side of the road. I'm not sure on that, but I'm pretty sure that's what they do. Now, with Xpeng really focusing on the smart EV, in my opinion, as a way to really appeal to the younger group, China's middle class is growing very quickly. The way I see it is there's more people in the middle class than there is in the upper class in pretty much every country, every society. So the fact that Xpeng has the lower price point car, I think will really help them broaden their horizon to it opens them up, right? There's more people that can afford a $33,000 car than can afford a $60,000 car. Now, obviously, it hasn't proven to be true recently or lately, because NIO does sell more vehicles. But the one thing that I really like what Xpeng is doing is, like I said, focusing on the autonomous driving. That's something that Tesla really did. They put a lot of emphasis on the autonomous driving. Xpeng actually has 40% of their workforce in the R&D department. That is much more than normal. So they are really taking a big leap to focus on a lot of the internal technology. The new P5 vehicle that they are releasing with all of the LiDAR has a lot of really cool features. Couple of things here before we move on. As of right now, Xpeng currently has 2 factories that their vehicles are manufactured in. The first one is their own. They manufacture their own vehicles inside that production facility, or whatever you want to call it. The second one is a third-party manufacturing plant that they outsource to. Li and NIO both outsource all of their production to a third party. Xpeng has 2 new facilities that they are in the middle of building out. They're breaking ground here in 2021. One of them, the one in Wuhan, we've talked about before, is fully backed by the government, and they are set to finish in 2022 and 2023. Their current capacity in the 2 facilities is around 250,000 vehicles annually. Those 2 new facilities will bump it up to 450,000 vehicles annually. They do all of their own autonomous driving stuff in-house. By them creating those 2 new manufacturing plants and doing a lot of their own things in-house and not outsourcing it, it is going to give them a massive amount of control over their production, over their cost, over their gross profit, where companies like NIO and Li do not have that type of control over their production. That's why the chip shortage, in my opinion, will affect the companies that are outsourcing more than the companies that are doing it on their own. If Xpeng can get to the point where they're producing their own chips in-house, which they're not currently, then they won't have to worry about stuff like that. Obviously right now, because they're not, they will feel the effects of the chip shortage. But on a lot of their other production and manufacturing, I think that having that control is a big plus. Like I said, the battery as a service is something that NIO really has going for it. The technology is what Xpeng really has going for it. NIO has more vehicles. I think they've got about 4 or 5 models right now, where Xpeng only has the 2. Let's take a look here. So a couple of things I wanted to show you guys. So as of right now, so they added 2 new additions. They added the P7 Wing Edition and the lithium iron phosphate battery powered G3 in April. I'm pretty sure is when they started to deliver them. What I'm really excited about is the 3rd production P5. So it says here, the LiDAR-equipped P5 sedan was unveiled in April and has received robust feedback for its market-leading and user-centric features. The company plans to launch the sale of the P5 in the 3rd quarter with deliveries in the 4th quarter of 2021. So they will be selling that car later on this year and delivering it at the end of the year. But the P5 is the one that's jammed packed with a ton of technology. It's the leader in autonomous driving. They've got like a cinema mode where it shoots a projector so they can watch a movie inside. The seats lay back. It's got a fridge. A lot of cool stuff. We'll look at it in just a second. One thing that I've said before that Xpeng really needs to focus on is sales. All of those vehicles, the 27,000 that they sold in 2020, were sold in China. Okay. At the end of 2020, Xpeng started delivering cars to Norway. Europe and China are 2 of the, well, China's the biggest for EV adoption or, consumers buying EVs. Europe is one of the 2nd largest. I don't know if the US or Europe is bigger for EV, but I know that those are the top 3 for sure. I've said before in previous videos that the key here long term for NIO and Xpeng, in my opinion, is expanding to, America and Europe. So the fact that Xpeng has the first mover advantage on Europe getting into Norway is huge in my opinion. I think that the sooner that they can get out there and get into Europe and get into the United States, it really is going to help them establish that global brand, which is going to be crucial for, the long-term aspect of it. The car industry is a tricky industry. I feel like the bigger the brand, the more familiar, the more comfortable people are, the more likely they are to buy your vehicle over another. If you think about it, in the vehicle industry, it's like you're a Chevy guy, you're a Ford guy, you're a Dodge guy, whatever it is, or gal. So again, if whoever really develops that brand worldwide, globally, is going to help out tremendously with expansion. So I like the fact that Xpeng is already getting into Norway. So now, when I said earlier that I think Xpeng really needs to focus on sales, because as of right now, they only capture about 2% of the Chinese EV market. NIO sells 1 in every 20 EVs. Xpeng sells 1 in every 35 EVs. So they are quite a bit behind NIO when it comes to, that aspect. So if Xpeng can really focus on sales and capturing more of the market, that is going to help out tremendously. The Chinese market is expected to increase by like 51% EV adoption in 2021 from 2020. And I think by like 2030, they are supposed to be like more than 50% EV. By 2025, I think vehicles will be a third. EV vehicles will be a third of all vehicles on the road in China. I actually think that Xpeng can capture more than just 2% of the market. As a good investor, you really should try to make more conservative assumptions versus really extreme assumptions. I have a lot of people, every time I will post a price target, they'll be like, oh, that's way too low. Well, I would rather, do my numbers and set a price target that may be more conservative and have them go higher than always be setting my price targets at the extreme and have them do less. So that's kind of what I'm doing here with the 2% market share they currently have. I actually think that they can get that up to around 3%. If they can do that, I think they can get to 300,000 cars annually by 2024, which would tremendously help their bottom line and top line. So guys, with all that being said, those are the things that I like. I like the autonomous driving. I like the lower price point. I like the new model that they're rolling out towards the end of the year. I like them expanding into Norway. I have heard that NIO and Xpeng are actually kind of working together. They're using each other's charging stations and things like that. So again, I like both of them. I'm going to continue to own both of them, but I am getting more and more bullish on Xpeng every single day. Let's take a look at the chart. Based off of what I was just saying, as far as NIO or Xpeng capturing the 3 to 4% of the current market versus them only capturing 2%. If they can do that, and if they can beat expectations for 2021 deliveries, I actually would put a price target on the stock of around $69 to $71 a share. That's by using a price to sales metric. When you actually look at NIO versus Xpeng, Xpeng is actually trading at a cheaper multiple for price to sales than NIO is. So I like to see that. It looks like the valuation is a little bit lower when it comes to price to sales ratio. But again, my price target for end of 2021 would be $71 to $69 on a low end. Now, my price target for the end of 2022 to the middle of 2023 would be upwards of $119 to $121, around that area. Now, that's a very, very bullish assumption there. I didn't even want to give you that because of how bullish it is. But overall, I do think that they can do it by expanding into Norway, getting those production plants opened up, increasing their deliveries. If they just continue what they're doing and continuously advance and improve their technology, they will get there as far as deliveries goes, and I think the share price could follow. So let's take a look at the chart. As you can see here, we've looked at this before, came out, reached a insane high of $74.79 clear back in November. I originally bought this stock down here at like the $33, $32 range back in early November, and then I added more shares down here in beginning of January. Actually, no, I didn't. Let's see, when was it? I added more shares in February, excuse me. Yeah, it was, I added again at 31, okay? Right when it got down to around the same price that I added the first time, I added again. So it looks like, yeah, it was in February. But as you can see, boom, big up, straight down, down right at the end of December, came all the way down, and hit a low of $37, tried to make its way back up, got back up to a high of $60, and then, market started having a correction right there at the beginning of February and came clear down to reach a low of $25. I added again at $26. I added at 31, and then I added again at 26. With that being said, I really like here that they are kind of holding this foundation right here at $29. Now, we're not out of the woodworks yet. I do like that they're being really resilient right here and holding this $29 and holding this gap right here. You very well could see them come down here and fill this gap and get all the way down, or excuse me, this gap right here, and get all the way down to like a $27 to $26 range. I don't necessarily think that's going to happen. If it does, I will add to the stock. As you can see here, again, guys, it did kind of get down there for a second and popped right back up and has been holding 1, 2, 3, 4 times. We really want to see this start moving back up. But again, I would rather buy it right here, holding at this support line. You want to make sure you confirm that it's going to hold here and start moving back up. You will probably run into more resistance right here. So you don't want to buy it up here at 36 and have it get rejected and come back down. You want to try to buy it down here, or to be safe, if you would rather be a little bit more conservative, you can wait for it to start moving back up and break through this resistance right here where it's been getting rejected at. I would say right there at like the 30, 36, $37 range. Let's see here, right there. I would wait until it breaks above that, closes above that, and gets on top of the moving averages. to where it really signifies that it's back up in an uptrend. I really like the share price down here at the $29 range. I like how it's held support in multiple different areas. I like that it's holding support right here at this gap. You do run the risk of it coming down here and filling this gap, but with earnings coming up right here on May 13th, I actually think you'll get a little bit of a preemptory run to that if they come out and show something very negative. You'll see it fill the gap, but we've already seen that they did record numbers in Q1, so I actually think you will see it start to move up this week. Overall, guys, 29 bucks, great price. I think if you look out towards the end of the year, the chip shortage will ease. They'll continue to do well as far as deliveries, and the stock will do very well. If you plan on holding this for the long term, you're going to run into a ton of volatility. I think if you guys have held this stock for a while, you can see that. EVs obviously getting bigger and bigger, but I have no problem buying it right here. So with that being said, guys, this video is for entertainment purposes only. I am not a licensed stockbroker. Always do your own research and due diligence. Don't just take my word for it. Like the video if you get any value out of it. I would really appreciate it. And then come join us at the Patreon. We'd love to have you in the family. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.